Why did Japan attack Pearl Harbor? This question has intrigued historians, researchers, and the general public alike for over 8 decades now. Today, we will delve into the events leading up to this defining moment in world history. Towards the late 1930s, the world was on the brink of war. A powerful Japan was expanding its territories across East Asia, driven by a desire to become a world superpower. This territorial expansion, however, was not without resistance. In 1931, Japan invaded Manchuria, a region in northern China. This move was met with international condemnation, but it did little to deter Japan's ambitions. Meanwhile, the United States, although distanced geographically, was keeping a close watch on Japan's actions. Fast forward to 1937, and we see Japan embroiled in a full-scale war with China. This war required resources Japan did not have. The country needed oil, rubber, and iron to continue its military campaigns. So, where could Japan get these resources? The answer lay in Southeast Asia, a region rich in the very resources Japan needed. There was just one problem. The region was largely controlled by Western powers, including the United States. This is where the United States enters the picture more directly. In an attempt to curb Japan's aggression, the US imposed economic sanctions on Japan, including a debilitating oil embargo. This move left Japan in a precarious position. The country was now faced with two options: withdraw from China and lose face, or seize the resources it needed by force. Japan chose the latter, and in doing so, it knew it would likely provoke a war with the United States. However, Japan had a plan: to knock the US Pacific Fleet out of action and buy enough time to secure the resources it needed. Japan decided to launch a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. And so, on the morning of December 7, 1941, Japanese planes swooped down on the unsuspecting US Pacific Fleet anchored at Pearl Harbor. The attack was devastating, catapulting the United States into the Second World War and changing the course of history forever. In retrospect, Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor was the result of a series of events that spanned over a decade. It was driven by Japan's ambitions of territorial expansion, its war with China, its need for resources, and the economic sanctions imposed by the United States. While the attack was a tactical victory for Japan, it was a strategic failure. It awakened a sleeping giant and filled it with a terrible resolve, as the saying goes. The United States entered the war with a vengeance, ultimately leading to Japan's surrender in 1945. To summarize, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor because it saw no other way to continue its militaristic expansion and maintain its honor. It was a decision born out of desperation, ambition, and a gross underestimation of the American response. It was a moment that forever changed the course of world history, a moment we continue to remember and learn from today.